hybrid children, okay? And I was telling her how emotionally distraught I was that I couldn't meet them, that I couldn't, they wouldn't come down to earth or be allowed for us to have a physical contact with one another. And this was amazing. It's taken me quite a bit of time to realize the ET's attitude towards biological offspring, and that the only time you can really call a child, that your own is when you raise that child. If you have no time spent with that child as a child develops, then you're really not that child's parent, okay? And so my 3 children were all raised by somebody else, and thus I couldn't claim them as my children. And that was the most difficult thing. And I told Cynthia this, and I said, how can I get in touch with them and let them know how incredible I feel about discovering that Bonnie and I have produced 3 children. And she says, well, why don't you write, I'm being told to sit down at your computer and write them a letter. And I said, well, where am I going to send it? What address do I put on it? Outer space? I mean, that's going to be, it's like putting, the North Pole for letters to Santa Claus. And then she said, no, I'm being told that all you have to do is write it, and it will be received and delivered. And I said, whoa, okay. So I wrote the letter, this beautiful letter, and when I finished, I saved it, and I immediately got a telepathic message that that my letter had been received and it will be delivered when Honora comes back. And I was, whoa, what's going on here? And I mean, I was just sort of pinching myself. Is this for real? So I decided, with all that energy in me, to go out for a walk. So I walked downtown Red Bank. It's walking along Main Street, and suddenly I get this telepathic message. Honora has returned, and she's been given your letter. And I stopped waiting for more information, but something extraordinary happened. Suddenly, even though I was standing on sidewalk, on a street side, what I was seeing in with my eyes was through the eyes of Kara, who was Bonnie. And I was looking into this room where Honora was situated. It was a fairly large room with many workstations on it and some doors and hallways coming off of it. And she's looking at this letter that was printed out wherever she was. And suddenly she starts to cry, and she runs down through that door and down the hall and disappears into a side room. And the narrator, well, Kara, said, it was narrating this and said, Honora has gotten upset over reading your letter, and so Kara started walking down the hall to her room and knocked on the door, and the door opened, and Kara said that I was seeing through her eyes and that she could talk to me directly. So I was looking at my daughter standing there in this alien location, wherever it was, and I thanked her, and she said it was a wonderful letter. She never expected to get anything like this. And then Kara walked down the hall and to the engine room, wherever that was, in the basement or another part of the ship, if it was a ship, and I met my son, Kyle, and we had an exchange of words, and I was staring at him directly as if I was there in person. And as soon as that ended, I found myself standing on the sidewalk again, and my sight was returned to this world, and I was just blown away. I think anybody would if they went through something like that. But that's not the only time that I've seen through somebody else's eyes. And I've, interestingly enough, met other people that have seen through other people's eyes. One friend said his girlfriend had that capability, and he would see through her eyes, and it freaked him out. So,
well, we're going to learn some new nomenclature, taxonomy, epistemology are ways to speak to each other about things that before were only thought of in Hollywood in the movies that somebody made up with fantasy or science fiction, such as Philip K. Dick or Gene Roddenberry. But now we're looking at people like you and me talking like this is our normal, and that's what the exposure to disclosure people are about. Is the disclosure is based on each individual and what level of intel, whether it's academically or spiritually or socially or even emotionally. We're working together to do our best to be holistic. Is that the proper way you think I should say that, is for body, mind, spirit?
Yes. There have been many people who don't even know they're abductees and have been allowed to live their life thinking that this is all there is in this reality. And one part of the disclosure is for their awakening, individual awakening. And they will all go through the same process that we've gone through. And I would never go back. That would be like, living in a fantasy world where I was before without knowing what possibilities there are and who I'm connected to, related to. During the 1994 and 95, I was introduced to other Caledonians that lived near me. And my wife said, yes, I'm a Caledonian too. And my Caledonian name is Katia. And I said, what the heck is going on here? So it was difficult for me, TJ, to accept this as a reality, but it sort of has to grow on you, just as this world has to grow on every baby as it's growing up. When it's born into this world is alien to that baby. And they have to get used to it. And they have to learn from their parents and from peers what is going on here. And they are gradually programmed to accept this world a certain way, usually the way the government or religions want us to accept it. And many times that is not where the true reality lies. And then the awakening essentially opens up new doors and new possibilities to the invisible world. And that's one of the biggest things that major changes that science is going to have to deal with is the invisible world. They want nuts and bolts. They want to be able to grab something and take it into the lab and experiment on it and dissect it, and they're not going to be able to do that with this invisible world. They're going to have to learn how to deal with it. Right. They're going to have to
tangible and intangible.
Right.
Is
as astronomers, how does astronomer know that the sun is made up of the way it is, with all of these hydrogen, helium gases, and with undergoing nuclear fusion and fission? And this is all interpretation. No scientist has gone out and grabbed a chunk of the sun and brought it back and stuck it in his laboratory and analyzed it. They have to do it by remote sensing, by instrumentation, by analyzing the signals and the energy coming from stellar objects to know what they are. And it is ultimately, they are determining reality remotely. And they're going to have to do the same thing with ETs, with ghosts, with the paranormal. It's paranormal is really just a part of normal that we haven't come to fully accept yet.
Right. Now, in our paranormal group in my ACO club, I really respect Dr. Rick Allen Miller thus far. He's been on my show probably more than 4 times, but I need to get some of his books and have him assist us. He's an expert in teaching ESP and has written many books on that, but in the paranormal field, and I will have those I guess in my ACO club under advanced communications. I'm not sure yet we're getting organized in 2019 for our big event 2020, and we don't even know where we're going to have it because we knew we were going to start exposing disclosure by many different agencies around the planet with many different space agencies. and who would get to Mars first, which will probably be, I don't know, Chinese, Russians, maybe America. Who do you think is going to get to Mars in this reality first?
Who will get to Mars first?
Which group of Terrans on this planet? Because we're all, we don't want to say we're one world order at all, because people believe that only the top 1%ers can afford to get there. I guess, I don't know, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Sir Richard, but who, dropping names here for the people that may get to Mars before you and I do. But, the only thing smarter, I think, than consciousness is the faster than the speed of light thoughts, right? So thoughts, thoughts, T-H-O-T. But with you and me, we've already graduated out of that into a different level of the ACO Invisible College. And after 7 years in God's term on this planet, you can get your first level 101, go from a 0-point energy or zero level of human, how's that, the matrix maybe, I guess we could say, to opening an awareness in the Ascension Age, which was allegedly supposed to be, according to the Mayan calendar, 12/21/12 at 11/11. I was told by many authors and people, psychics and things, but people were disappointed. Nothing happened at that exact time. It's like there wasn't one person to go to the lawn of the White House and park and go, "We're here, hello,"
Well,
nothing like for Hollywood.
There have been some recalculations based on new information on that date, that Mayan calendar, and it turned out, according to them, it was 2016, not 2012. And it came and went with at the time that Trump won the election. That was the turning point. So for those
I
who want,
heard something about that. It was with a drop instead of. Yeah.
So
funny.
that was the big turnover is going. This may have been, they say, the beginning of the age of Aquarius when it truly kicks off at 2016. So we are now out of the age of Pisces, according to them. So that's
okay.
That's
so that was
what
January 20th or 23rd. When was the President Trump officially initiated? I've forgotten the dates. It used to.
It would have been
November.
January 20th? It would have been November. Yeah, but he was elected in November of 2016. It was January of 2017 that he was came to office, and when he took the oath of office. So
okay.
But
should we use that historically? Should you and I in the ACO club use that or not for the ACO club? People like you and me or not?
I don't know.
Should we?
More
do you have it archived? Do you have it archived?
I don't know where it is.
Well, I did a book on Ascension Age 2012 and beyond, and I don't even know where my mind was at that time. I came and went already. It's like I've got that T-shirt, right? But I do get credit for writing Knowing Cosmology, but only because the world let me, or Google, or Amazon, or Microsoft, or whoever's out there in cyberspace wanted it, put together. And it's ridiculous, but knowing cosmology is my thing now. I guess I'm a cosmologist. I can't believe it just because I get credit for one book. Go ahead.
I remember I heard this on a part about the Mayan prophecy on the History Channel. It was a show that was on a couple nights ago, and that was that was very recent. That's why it was fresh in my mind that they were saying that they went back and found more evidence where and found out there were some stones that had fallen off, and they put them up and found out that the date was after 2012. And somewhere around, December of 2016, which would have been the time that Trump officially was recognized as the president. So,
well, in my ACO club, where am I going to put you? Because being a paleo, you've got several degrees, and but you're like me, you're eclectic. So we're just ACO club guys, girls, or ETs, or ET
Whatever.
experiencers, or